Hey, what's up, everybody? So, you know, I'm doing these podcasts on Mondays, call them crappy Mondays. People seem to be kind of receptive to it. So, as you guys join in, maybe do me a solid, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Possibly, very possibly, consider hitting the bell so you're notified of everything as soon as it drops. Sorry I took so long to get in here, but I'm here. You guys are here. We might as well talk about some stuff. I got some more Gears 5 stuff I want to talk about. So, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, that game is coming out in less than 2 months, mind you, less than 2 months. So we have that game to be kind of excited for. Now, the thing that I'm not excited about, and maybe you guys can help me out, why did why is it that that Gears might have canceled or cut down on some of the cutscenes. So I saw 4 or 5 different people mention this to me yesterday. And if you have a link to this, please let me know or tell me where it's at, because I had heard someone say IGN, but I hadn't had the chance to actually check that out yet because I was working and I just got back and I'm going to be busy all day tomorrow. So that really bothers me. The fact that hey, what's up, Yobi? Nice to see Hellspawn in here. Boldly Beaver, a lot of you cool people. If you wouldn't mind sharing it out, I would appreciate it. I would just say, why would they only motion cap 4 cutscenes? So that's according to what people are saying that Rod said. Rod Ferguson, the head of the coalition. So I'm not sure if that means that they're not going to be doing more or they're going to be doing the rest from CGI. So usually Gears mocaps what they do, right? So we've all seen that. A lot of these games that have a story-driven narrative or whatever, they use motion capture. That's just the way things are nowadays, right? Everybody motion cap stuff. It's just comes with the territory, like The Last of Us wrapped the motion cap. If you look at what they're doing with Days Gone, and I know those are PS4 exclusives or whatever, but look at Days Gone or Death Stranding, they use motion capture for these types of games. So my question is, there's a lot of people right now that are, and this is not a knock. Like whenever I say a lot of people and I go to talk about something, it's not a knock on anybody in particular, right? It's definitely not a knock on a YouTuber. It's not a knock on a person. If you feel this way, it's fine. I'm all for us all having opinions and expressing these opinions. What I want to say is, as an Xbox fan, the previous Gears of War had a softer campaign than the previous ones, right? So Gears 4 had a weaker campaign. The DB bots, it had these tower defense moments. I wasn't a big fan of that. I thought 1 through 3 had much stronger narrative points and was just better games overall. I thought the multiplayer was fine. I think the multiplayer here is going to be fine. But I do want to say that for me personally, it's a little bit worrying because it's a campaign and it's a single player campaign that I'm worried about. Now you might go, well, why are you worried about the single player campaign? Well, I'm just saying, from my perspective, why is it that we have, we have bad campaigns from Xbox? And follow me, I tweeted this out earlier. The reason why I'm worried is because you look at Gears 4, it had a softer campaign. You look at Halo 5, that had a really weak campaign. State of Decay 2, it didn't even really have a campaign, just random events that happened. Sea of Thieves, of course, had no campaign. Crackdown 3 had a very weak campaign. I'm struggling to think of games recently, even their big heavy hitters like Gears and Halo, having great campaigns. Now, they've had great campaigns in the past, in my opinion. But I think it's perfectly okay to, hey, there's Xbot. I think it's perfectly okay to wonder and worry, say, hey, where's the campaigns at? Where's the footage at? That's all I'm asking for. Like, show us a little bit. And a lot of people go, well, do you really want to spoil the game for yourself? And here's the thing that I would say to that. Gears 3, right? We used to get these epic commercials for Gears 3. We found out that Marcus's father was alive. Spoiler alert, in Gears 3, right? We found out that he's alive during a commercial for this. Did that spoil anything per se? No. If you were interested in the story, this was news to you because guess what? It makes you want to buy the game to figure out what happened, what's the backstory, because we'd heard about his father in the previous Gears games. Now we thought he was dead. Now they're telling you he's alive. Why not show us the game just walking around? I have some Gears footage that I recorded. It's just me walking around. You can get a good look at what's going on, a couple of firefights. It's not spoiling anything. I would like to see something from the campaign to sort of rest my weariness over what's happening in the game. If you guys are fine with it, if some of you guys are fine with what we've seen so far, then I think that's great. But after I've sit there and explained to you that Microsoft has had weak campaigns lately, to me, like the AAA stuff, they're focused very much on having multiplayer type games in Game Pass or smaller AA's. Now, if you think I don't have anything to worry about, fair enough. Opinions are just that, and I don't mind it. But I feel like I do have something to actually. Okay, so Raxel says, what happened, Crap? So right now, it looks like Rod Ferguson has confirmed that they've only motion capped 4 scenes for Gears 5. 4 cutscenes. They've only mocapped that. So Jay Slayer 66 says, can't you mocap the people and put that in the computer? Then the computer can do it on its own from there on. I don't know if people work it that way, Jay Slayer. The way I understand it is you got to mocap the scenes, right? And then you can put them together. I'm not sure if they're going to do CGI for the rest or how that's going to actually work out, but it might work the way you say. Maybe it's going to be more. Maybe I'm just worried because they're not saying anything about it, and we've seen so much about, they always show the campaigns and stuff in previous Gears, and we see way more footage than what we've seen. And in my opinion, as someone who's been a Gears fan since the beginning, it hasn't spoiled anything for me. So I know that people worry about quote unquote spoilers, but these things are supposed to get people hyped up. And I think Gears 5 has maybe the least amount of the least amount of hype that I've seen for any of this stuff. So hold on. Hellspawn says, I still have the promo videos from all Gears games downloaded on my 360. Yeah, they did really great ones. Mega Cloud says, if you were in charge of Microsoft for one day, what would you do and what game would you greenlight? Okay, if I were in charge of Microsoft, just the whole kit and caboodle and Xbox, I would cut out Play Anywhere. I'd make Gears, Halo, and Forza Xbox console exclusives only. You couldn't get them on PC or anywhere else. I would greenlight. I would hear what studios have major AAA aspirations and greenlight as many as I could. I would announce to the Xbox faithful at least 2 new AAA IP that are being worked on currently. And I would also greenlight some fan favorites, maybe take some votes and see who wanted to get the most amount, which one could get the most amount of votes, whether it be Mech Assault or whether it be something else. You got to pay attention a little bit to the fans, and you've got to pay attention to what they're asking for. And I think that that's probably something that Microsoft is a little tone deaf on, not exactly paying attention to what we're asking for as Xbox fans. And sometimes they treat us a little dumb, right? Like with the way they word things and just the overabundance of PC and stuff like that. So I did link in the description below. There was a very interesting little interview that Phil did, and you're going to have to, it's PC games hardware, and you're going to have to probably translate this. But I'm going to get into this a little bit as well, because Phil Spencer, to me, he just allows developers to kind of do what they want. And it's almost like, that's fine, but at some point you've got to kind of put some mandates in. Otherwise, there's no point in getting this new hardware if you're not actually mandating 60 frames or 4K or 8K or something, right? Like if you look at the Xbox One X, great piece of hardware, but some developers don't even take advantage of it. And I think that's something that Microsoft has to change a little bit and have to kind of work things out to get things kind of rolling, in my opinion. So I would love to see a situation where we get some kind of mandate for frame rate. What's the point otherwise? Just my opinion, and I'm going to kind of jump back into that as well. One Typical Latino says, thanks for bringing constant content. I appreciate it. DJ Singh says, don't bother, Crap. Your NAC gameplay is enough for you. LMA. Okay, yeah, I know the the last ones. Hellspawn says, maybe scenes or animations like Pixar. Could be. I just would like to see a little bit of something that shows off some of the single player stuff. Gamer O'Malley says, crap, them dudes are going to they hate you hard for speaking up. I just don't listen. I'm just speaking up. It's, I have an opinion. Look, there's Xbot in the chat. He says, for an emotional impact on big twists in the game. Xbot, I'm not asking for a big twist to be shown off right now. I just would like some kind of, some type of reassurance that it's actually going to be a decent campaign. Like they're supposedly changing so much in this game, right? They've already said that. Rod has said, hey, we're changing a lot in the game. We're making big strides. We're making a lot of changes in what we do. I like that, right? And I'm perfectly fine with that. But show us the changes a little bit, right? If it's more of an open world, give us an idea of that, right? Because we've seen And I know somebody kind of pointed this out to me earlier. Oh, well, when they revealed Gears in 2018, there was some campaign stuff. There's like a little bit of stuff, but nothing in that looks different from what we've already played before. So if there are these sweeping changes, show us that a little bit. Like why not show us the skiff that you use to get around? Like when can you use it? Is that really a spoiler to anybody? Showing us the new skiff, it's sort of like how in God of War you have the boat to get around. Like I didn't look at that as a spoiler. That's something that I think people, would probably be fine with hearing about. I don't think that it's something that we should like bash them for or think, hey, that's not right or that's a spoiler. That's a spoiler in any way. It's my favorite franchise, so I think I have a little bit of a right to be upset. Now, Xbot, for you, like you would feel this passionate about Halo, I'm sure. Like if Halo rolls around and you're 2 months away from launch and you've not seen any campaign gameplay, you might be a little bit worried too. So that's it. I'm just a little bit worried about what they're going to do with. Oh, I hear you, Xbot, with what they're doing. I like seeing stuff, right? Like now you can overdo it. If you look at what Spider-Man did, Spider-Man PS4, I feel like they overdid it with what they showed in terms of the trailers and stuff like that for Spider-Man. I think that they showed a little bit too much, maybe too many of the villains, too much of what was going on, and that can be a bad thing. And I think that really kind of showed a little bit, but that didn't hurt the game at all. And it did get people extremely excited about the game. But you have to worry with so many supposed changes with this, like at what point are people gonna, panic a little bit, 2 months out, not enough time to fix multiplayer stuff, even with a beta. And then you're also 2 months out. And what happens if something, why not give us a little idea about what we're going to get in the campaign? Because believe it or not, I know most people look at Gears as a multiplayer type game. And I get that because the multiplayer is really good and it's really hardcore. But why is it that, why is it that we aren't getting any kind of idea of the campaign when I actually think that the narrative for the first three were pretty solid? Most people look at them as like a dude bro type of shooter or whatever, but I always just looked at them as like, great games. So for me, it is a little bit unsettling that, we haven't been able to get that look at the game like we should, in my opinion. Joe Hansel says, even your girlfriend sends you nudes before having action. A campaign trailer with gameplay won't spoil anything. Agreed 100%. Yobi says, some of the zealots came for me on Twitter saying I shouldn't be worrying about Microsoft's money either. I play or I don't. It's not even about that. I'm voicing my opinion. It's BS. Yobi, listen, man, you are a light in the Xbox community. And it's funny because you do so much for the fans, right? You are, you hooked up Xbox with a TV. You've given, you've gifted numerous people games, including myself. You're an awesome dude. When people were trashing me, you were like, hey, man, let Crap have his opinion. It's all good. I told you, man, sometimes if you come out with your opinion, people will kind of will do that to you. You know what I mean? Especially if it's negative. Like people say that I'm a flip-flopper. I spent $275 on a Gears of War tattoo on my arm, a Crimson Omen, my favorite franchise. Like I would probably not get any other gamer ink on me besides this. And because it's my favorite, like I really was going through some stuff when Gears was coming out and it helped me through a tough time. And so I love Gears. So I express my feelings through it and I do worry about it. I think that it could be fine. And I think the multiplayer is going to be great. I'm going to probably put, 100 hours into the multiplayer. And I think it'll be great. But the thing is, just looking back to Gears 4, it like the DB bots were lame. And I thought that some of the characters were lame. To be honest with you guys, and this is just my opinion, the characters weren't as interesting in Gears 4 as the original characters in the first three Gears. Okay. They weren't as good. James, Kate, I think his name's Dell, just not as interesting as characters. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. They weren't as interesting. They weren't as good. I just wasn't really entranced with what they were doing. Marcus was the highlight. You got these stupid DB bots. I know they tried to change things up, but it was lame. I kind of like the ending, with Kat or Kate being, what she is with the necklace or whatever, and then you change the main character for the next one. I'm not sure it works out well. Like I hope that it does, I hope that it does work out really well because I'm a big fan and I want it to be great. but you also had these weird parts of tower defense in that game, and I don't get that either. Like, that didn't make much sense, and you had the gear packs, and they did get rid of that. But I would just love to see something from them in the campaign. It doesn't have to be great. Like, it doesn't have to be some big spoiler-filled thing, but just show us something, you know? Exactly, Yobi, man. It's like, I don't understand why you can't have anything. Okay, so Jez7780 says, I have the link. I captured Rod quote from E3 2018. 4 to 5 performance captures, and the Kate one we saw last one was one of them. So it was an E3 2018 interview, 4 to 5 performance captures, and the Kate one was one we saw. So there's only, what, like 4 more or possibly 3 more. So I do think that is a little bit weird. Ishan Rashid says, crap, what do you think of AEW? I like that AEW is there because I feel like, again, competition is great. Look what WWE has done. I know a lot of you guys aren't wrestling fans, so I'll get through this quick. A lot of you guys aren't fans of wrestling, but WWE already hired Paul Heyman to run Raw and Eric Bischoff to run SmackDown. That's competition. That's why we need Microsoft competing. We need Sony competing, Nintendo competing. You know, we need these companies competing with each other. So absolutely. Vitali says, if this PC interview, Phil said they've shown a lot of gameplay at E3. Phil was kind of on the back pedal a little bit in that interview. So I do think that that's interesting. Crapgamer, what's wrong with you, man? Why do you have on your PlayStation page Xbox is the best on a PlayStation page? I'm not a PlayStation page. I'm just a gamer. I'm just a I'm just a gamer. TD Bank says, crap, how dare you? Kate is a maize sauce. SJW lives matter. If it's just if it really makes sense that she is now part of that, you know, if it makes sense, right? But if it's just a Captain Marvel situation where they just kind of shoehorn it in, you know, I think that that's the wrong way to go about it. And I've always said that. Same thing with Halo 5. People like Chief could be anybody. So I always felt it was kind of lame that they, you know, changed things around and added a bunch of characters that, you know, nobody frankly cared about. And I know people don't like to hear that, but it's just true, you know? Like, they built it up to be something that it wasn't, and then it ended up letting everybody down. So, you know, for me personally, make it where it makes sense. Otherwise, just make your own characters. If you're looking for a strong female lead character, make a new IP. You know, now if it does make sense, hey, I'm not saying that it won't. I'm just saying, for me personally, I've heard these complaints, and that is something to kind of pay attention to. Now, if it turns out that it's the right thing and it's organic, hey, all the better. I have no problem whatsoever with it. I think that that's a very, you know, it's really just going to depend on the people themselves, you know, how this works out. But let me tell you this, the campaign, you know, it does worry me a little bit. And I think that this could be, you know, it could hurt the scores. So the last Gears 4 got an 84 Metacritic. And if the campaign is really short or not as good, then I do believe that a lot of the reviews are going to kind of, you know, say it that way. You know, they're going to say, hey, this game isn't as good. And we're going to start seeing some people kind of comment on it and things like that. So, yeah, I'll be damned if I'm going to let other people tell me that I shouldn't worry about, you know, something. But if you guys are just joining me, please like this video and share it out. I would appreciate it. You know, it's a Crappy Monday podcast. We're going to be talking about, you know, this and a few other things. Please like it, share it out, like I said, and I'm going to be taking a lot of questions and things like that. Gothwitch Girl says, crap, I'm a gamer girl, and I like that they keep evolving the brand. Hey, I'm fine with evolving the brand. The thing that I have a problem with, because look, Sony will probably do the same thing. I don't know if day and date, but Sony's going to do the same stuff, you know, stream to your phone or whatever, and I'm fine with that. But they have games to back it up. I think that's the biggest difference. And, you know, for me, I think the games are the most important thing. So, you know, you have to be able to listen to your fans. If you look at what Sony's doing, they're listening to their fans a lot right now. And I feel like Microsoft needs to kind of do the same. Like, they have changed a lot and they've done a lot to their credit, right? Like, they brought out a more powerful console with the X. I think that's great. They're buying studios. I just think that the studios that they bought, most of them are AA. Most of them are still working on multi-platform games. Like, I don't think Phil understands that you need exclusive content to push your console. So, I don't know. For the first time, I'm thinking about picking up multi-plats on the PS4 Pro. I know they won't look, quote-unquote, as good as the Xbox One X, but the next multi-plat that I'm going to get, I think, is Control from Remedy. and it has exclusive content on the PS4. So I'm thinking I might get that on PS4. That's right. You heard it here first. Maybe start to get into the feel of that. Like I've gotten more used to the controller. I can also use the Xbox controller because I have an adapter, but Microsoft doesn't seem to care as much about getting me exclusive content or making me feel good about being a console owner. So sometimes I have a little bit of a problem like that. Daniel Rodriguez, hey, I'm working on getting like everything set up, cameras and stuff like that. So Mohammed says, crap, what business model will Microsoft use for xCloud? Do you think it'll be an additional subscription next to Game Pass? I think that it will be. I think xCloud is going to be a subscription model for phones and stuff. But I think that at some point it might be included with your Gold Ultimate or something, right? So I do think that that is going to be something that how they work that in the future or whatever. So I do think that that's how it's going to be working as well. So Jay Slayer says, I got no problem with playing as a chick. Every time I create a character, I make a chick, would rather look at a chick than a guy. Ha ha ha. No, I get it, man. Listen, I think it's fine. Like when you create a character and it's a story where it doesn't really matter. But I think in Gears in particular, this is like a game where we're used to certain things and we have, you know, and I don't think the characters themselves were strong enough in the last game to carry on. Like, I think that maybe if this one doesn't go well, maybe go back to the Pendulum Wars or some untold story from the original cast or something like that, because I hate to see Gears go down the tube and see Microsoft stop supporting it or something like that. So, Darth Vader says, crap, do you believe that Microsoft will be able to pull out any good exclusives for the Xbox in the future? Absolutely. Absolutely. I do. I think that Microsoft, I think Fable is going to come back, and I think we're going to see, you know, obviously more Forzas and Gears and Halos, and those are always at least pretty decent. You know, like, I always look at, you know, Halo and Gears sort of like sex, right? And I know Nuke Nukem's not here, and I'm kind of going after dark or whatever, but even if it's bad, it's still pretty good, I guess, you know, but you still worry about it. You still want it to be great at the end of the day. So I want those games to be great, and I want them to do new stuff. So I think Fable's going to be good for Playground. Obviously, Forza, I hope makes a rebound to Motorsport anyway, because I like Forza Motorsport, but I have to be honest, I think the last two Motorsport games were kind of subpar, and, you know, they're going kind of the way of microtransactions and loot boxes and this, and, you know, oh, wait, hold on. Forza Motorsport 7, didn't necessarily have microtransactions, but just the whole box situation, I'm not a fan of. You know, I don't really like that. So I prefer them to do things the way that they did with like the Horizon series. So if they do, you know, fix things up in the next Motorsport game, I hope they do that. And then the same thing with Halo. I think Halo is going to be great. I just think that, you know, how much did they listen to the fan feedback? Like, does Master Chief sprint? Or I would hope that they don't take sprint out of there. I didn't mind being able to look down sights in the newer Halos the way that they did it, because I feel like it's, you know, that game will be out in 2020. You damn sure should be able to look down the sights in a first-person shooter. Just my opinion. You know, you can't have a game in 2020 play like a game in 2001, right? It doesn't work. That 19 years of difference, and we have these fast games out and that people flock to. And you can't have people sort of living in the past. If you want to live in the past, you can go play Halo 3 in the Master Chief Collection. Let's see. What do you think would happen if Gears gets lower 60s like Gears Judgment? I think Gears Judgment actually didn't do too bad in Metacritic. I think it was in the 70s. I'm going to tell you right now what the Gears Judgment Metascore was. 79. So believe it or not, Gears of War Judgment, for as much crap as it gets, was a 79. So it was only 5 points lower than Gears 4. Now, you have to take that into consideration, because Gears Judgment was originally going to be just an arcade game that came out, and then they ended up doing like a full-fledged thing, and People Can Fly, I guess, worked on it, and, you know, people left Epic during the making of this or whatever. So sort of take it for what it's worth. I think that Gears can be fine, and it might be fine. I just feel like it's going to take a little bit to kind of get things going. So there is that. And here's the thing, man. Nobody can deny that I'm a Gears head, man. Like, it's consistently been my most played game on each Xbox. On 360 and of course on Xbox One. It's been consistently my most played game. The only game that I played more than that, and this might get me some hate, is I guess Sea of Thieves, because sailing takes a lot of time. So yeah, there is that. So I I take a lot of time sailing the old shores with old Captain Crap. Arg me hearties, Captain Crap here. So I have a good time with it. But at the end of the day, I hope that it's really, really well done, and I hope that they do a really good job with it, and that these concerns are just that, like, concerns, and that it doesn't really matter, because I hope that it comes out being the best that it possibly can be. Hellspawn says, I have a feeling that if Gears 5 fails, there will be a reboot of the series. Good characters will be back. This is exactly my point. I think that they might do that. JetFan95 says, hey, crap, I was wrong about the Arkham Collection yesterday. It turns out it's releasing again, but it's because the Arkham Collection was digital only. Now it's a steelbook release. Here's the thing also, JetFan. It's also including Arkham Knight, which was not in the Arkham Collection, which they returned to Arkham. And I think this one takes full advantage of the newer hardware like the X and the Pro. So we might get 4K versions or 60 frames per second versions, and I hope we would. I just wish we get Arkham Origins, because that game gets no love, and I feel like it was done really, really well. Crap, Gears of War 4 made in 2 years, and it was an 84. Yeah, I agree. I mean, 84 is not nothing to sneeze at, that's for sure. I think that that's a really positive review score. I just also feel like, Microsoft can do better if they really want to. So we have to kind of keep that in mind as well. And I think that, Gears, they probably had a better internal thing. And I also heard that Gears 4 underperformed for them as well. So you have to kind of keep all these things in mind as we go forward. I'm not sure they were exactly happy with the sales of Gears 4. One of the reasons why they put things on PC was to actually get, I guess, more sales or whatever. But people abandoned it really quickly on PC because guess what? Nobody was really using it. So you have to kind of keep that in mind as well. We kind of expected, crossplay, and I wonder if they're going to do the same thing with this one, right? Like crossplay, I don't mind on certain things, like if it's just campaign or horde mode, but I'm guessing they're going to allow crossplay once again with PC and Xbox. So that could be a thing that I'm not a fan of. Rich says, hi, Crap, do you think the reported $50 Xbox xCloud will take the thunder of PS5 because it's the entry level of next gen for $50? Rich, I don't think there will be a $50 xCloud box because they got to bundle it with a controller, and Xbox controllers are between 60 and 80 bucks for the lower end ones, right? 150 or 180 for the elite ones. So once you take that, and then you have some kind of box that's supposedly be able to do some computation as well, right? So this box that supposedly Brad Sams is talking about, and he said it might not even ship, who knows? But this thing is supposed to render your character so that it's less input lag, because one of the big problems that's always going to be there for xCloud and Stadia is the input lag, right? There's no way around it. You push in a controller, information has to go through the internet to their servers, and then to their servers back to basically. So no matter how fast your internet is, there's always going to be that problem. And so one of the ways to alleviate it is to have a box like this that's going to maybe render your character only and allow you to do movements very quickly with a controller, and then have everything else use that. So Microsoft continually drops the ball. Look at the Xbox One SAT edition, for example, right? The Xbox One SAT edition, this thing is a diskless Xbox One S, and many people thought this thing would launch for like $150, and it ended up being $250. So people saying that this thing is going to be $50 or $75 or 100, it's probably going to be $150, $179. This is the way Microsoft works, right? They never do things that really make sense. This thing, it's going to come with a controller because it has to come with a controller. And the fact that it's doing some kind of computation means that you're going to need it. This is for people at home to sort of get a better version. So even if it is $179, Microsoft's idea would be, hey, you can pay $179 and play next gen games with this, or you can pay, $500 or $599 and play them natively. So it's still a big savings, but it's not going to be the $50 to $75 that people are kind of claiming it's going to be. So yeah, I think that that's going to be one of those things. Hotman966, thank you very much. What's up, bro? Let me see. Kratos84 Gaming says, I'm a business owner and do pretty well. I like my console, but there's a price point. Just stick with it. I own all of them. Could be right. Ishan says, do you think Gears and Halo are in danger of becoming stale, boring, static? Should Microsoft focus on new IPs? You can focus on both. It's just that they're so reliant on Halo, Gears, and Forza that it makes them seem way worse or way more used up. Nintendo, for example, right? And if you guys are just joining me, please let's get over 100 likes. I would really appreciate that. So Nintendo, for example, what do they rely on? Zelda, Metroid, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, Mario, right? And we get these like every generation in, generation out, but every one of them seems to reinvent itself and do really well in the Metacritic and scores and stuff like that because they have a ton of other stuff as well. So you have to keep things fresh. You can't just put out Halo, Gears, and Forza and a bunch of AA games and then expect people to just like jump on it and go, oh, this is amazing stuff, because it doesn't really work that way. You've got to have the other stuff to offset the old stuff, because it looks like it really looks like Microsoft is sort of doing that. You know what I mean? For me anyway, I just feel like it's just one of those things that it is very difficult to sort of put into words for me personally anyway. So that's exactly how I sort of feel about it. Good stream. 8 King, what's up? Thank you very much. Xbot made of, well, I mean, look, like one person's damage control is just another person's truth, I guess, you know? Like for me, it's just one of those things I worry about. There's always going to be Xbox fans that aren't going to be happy. There's always going to be Xbox fans that are extremely happy. And it just really just comes down to what people want for themselves. So that's how I sort of feel about it. And I hope that that's how you guys kind of feel about it as well. You know, we want the best. That's why we complain. That's why, and I feel like we have a right to. It's not entitlement, since we're paying hundreds and thousands of dollars for these things. I feel like we're actually, we're supposed to give our feedback. They should welcome our feedback. And, that's just one of the things that I think that they should. You are the new crap gamer. The old crap gamer was the polar opposite. Old crap gamer was a kind of a character, like just how it was, man. I liked Howard Stern and Bubba the Love Sponge, and I kind of incorporated that because I didn't see a lot of that going on. But I feel like the real me has a lot to say about video games without having to bash people or make fun of people. So I kind of do that. So in the link below, I linked this interview that Phil Spencer had, right? So here's the thing. PC Games Hardware says about the 4 times performance of the Xbox Scarlett, right? And what that means for consoles and things like that. And Phil Spencer says, no, it's a CPU statement. It will also be a little too simplistic to refer to the whole system as much as I would like to, because so many components flow into it. Take the Xbox One X. In its development, the memory bandwidth was bottleneck. So he admits that the X had bandwidth bottlenecking problems. It had to be big enough to provide content to the GPU without idle time. We could have brought the console to market a year earlier, but we wanted another year to get all 6 of the GPU T-flops up and running. Our primary goal with Scarlett was to improve the graphics capabilities and the GPU of the console, primarily because another goal was to integrate a CPU into the system that can compete with the GPU. Unlike PCs, consoles have historically been ARM presses with a strong ARM, the GPU, and a weak ARM, the CPU, which does nothing other than change frames calculated by the GPU as fast as possible, often with only a maximum of 30 frames per second. Our primary goal with Scarlett was to improve the graphics capabilities, again, and the GPU of the console. Now we're talking about 120 hertz or variable refresh rates, because if the timing of the game loop, like the core routines of the game, corresponds to the refresh rate, this reduces the input latency and thus ensures a smooth gaming experience. And that depends largely on the CPU and memory bandwidth. That's why you see a statement like Scarlett is X times faster than the Xbox One X. It's a bit more differentiated. So he's basically saying just because they're saying it's 4 times more powerful doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be 4 times more powerful, right? So PC Games Hardware asks, so on a console, I cannot run benchmarks very well and then compare to the 360 or the X and Scarlett if I overclock this core, et cetera, et cetera. Phil Spencer says that would be something, 3D bench on consoles, but that's why we're on PC. I love that when people put heart and soul into perfecting their gaming experience. For example, my gaming laptop still runs at 1080p because a good frame rate is very important. I do not need a 4K screen, but that's just my personal take. And sure, we support Scarlett 8K graphics, but we're not telling any developers to make 8K graphics or 4K graphics. And then PC Games Hardware says, who has an 8K TV at home anyway? And Phil Spencer says exactly. Scarlett supports 120 hertz or variable refresh rates and 8K, but will we see games in 120 hertz with 8K resolution? He doesn't know. He doesn't know that that would work. But then you have to do without other things while playing. Our job is to give developers a range of tools and choices for the player. For example, if you have a 1080p TV today, the games look better on an Xbox One X connected to it and super sampling. But if you do not need it, you can buy an S and save a few $100s. So this is the problem that I have, because they're not mandating developers to really do anything per se with the Xbox Scarlett, just like the Xbox One X, right? Like developers aren't even mandated to do anything to the Xbox One X versions of their games. And a good sort of point of view of this is Rage 2, which I'm downloading right now to play. Somebody gifted it to me. Very appreciative of that. It's 1080p 60. I like the fact that they got the 60 frames in there, but I would have loved the 4K 30 option or a 1440, something along those, maybe 1440p 60, because it's 1080p 60 on the Pro and the Xbox. So that's one of the things that sort of kind of worries me or whatever. And basically what Phil is saying is, we're not making developers do one thing or the other. It really just comes down to what they want to do. So developers don't even have to do that. If they want to do 1080p 60, they will. So what's the point in upgrading? For me personally, I just feel like it's kind of a bad situation for us, because we need to be able to I think maybe more choice as console gamers. If they're kind of really making console and PC and PC Xbox and Xbox PC, then shouldn't we be able to kind of pick how we want to play these next upcoming games? And shouldn't developers, at the very least, have to take advantage of everything that these consoles have to offer? That's kind of my point on these things, and I feel like Microsoft might be letting us down just a little bit where that's concerned. I would love to be able to, see something a little bit different from Microsoft in this regards, like make developers use the hardware to the best that it can be. That's that's just what I would like to see. I would love to see something like that come about with the hardware, because I feel like it's underutilized how they use it right now, and that's very disappointing. One of the things that I did like about this particular interview was they kind of call out Microsoft for not showing a lot of gameplay at for not showing a lot of gameplay at E3. And Phil kind of goes on to talk about how he's very excited about things that they didn't show. Like, why are you more excited about stuff you didn't show? That's something that I always kind of get bummed out by. If you're more excited about the stuff you didn't show than the stuff you did show, what's that say about the stuff you did show? Probably not much. So yeah, that does bum me out a little bit. Hold on. Jay Slayer says, oh, okay, no, that's not for me. Goth Witch Girl says, crap, I think they're trying to keep a balance on their announced games and try not to show too much and get burned by the media. Well, listen, Goth, they have to break out of that eventually at some point, right? You have to have faith in your developers, and you have to actually show something to your fans, right? At some point, we got to be going on more than just a little bit of faith here. I mean, they're a consumer-based company, meaning they've got to impress us. They got to get us excited for stuff. If they're not doing a good job at that, then how do they plan on keeping the Xbox going forward in the future? I feel like that's going to be a problem. And I hope that they can keep Xbox going forward in the future. But if you don't have the games going into the content wars, where's that going to leave you at the end of the day? And I feel like that's something that Microsoft should probably take into account as well, because they're in a bad position. Like, I know they're making money. I don't care that they're making money. Great, right? I care about Xbox being a console. I couldn't care less about them making money because they put stuff on PC or because they own Minecraft. Excuse me. That stuff absolutely does not matter to me. What matters to me is the consoles keep coming, right? The consoles. And I know we're getting Scarlett, but what the hell good is it if I'm stuck playing against people who are on xCloud or, on PC because nobody else is buying a Scarlett? Okay, that's a real concern. Well, there's no hype for Scarlett right now. There's not. I mean, there's obviously, when I say no, that's not saying nobody's excited for it, but in general, you hear more people talking about PlayStation 5 right now and how excited they are for those great PlayStation 5 exclusives, and nobody's talking about Microsoft and Xbox. So, that's just how I sort of feel about it, and hopefully Phil kind of fixes things and kind of gets this out there as well, because they definitely need to be a little bit more vocal to the fans and kind of answer the criticisms that we're seeing. So I really do think that that's something that that they need to work on. Will they work on it? I don't really know. I think that it's something that they can work on and that they probably should, just because fans demand this and deserve this. Like, I always feel like as fans, we've put up with quite a bit of crap this generation, and they kind of owe it to us to, you know, listen to the feedback a little bit more than they are right now. So hopefully they can, and hopefully they can keep on kind of churning out good hardware and good software for a change. I would love to see some amazing software from Microsoft for a change, because right now it just doesn't seem like we get that amazing piece of software that we've had in previous generations from Microsoft. So, Rich says, Phil Spencer saying console sales don't matter. Sony saying console sales do matter. Which one do you agree with? Obviously, console sales matter. Not because they make money from consoles, although you can, but mostly because it ensures that you get healthy competition. If you're like, look, if Microsoft were closer to PlayStation in terms of sales this generation, we'd probably get way better deals and stuff like that. So the fact that that it's such a blowout means that we're getting less deals and things like that for these consoles. Like, it's really kind of a shame. And when Sony comes out with a big game and a great game, the competition is there. Microsoft should want to go out and beat that. That's how I always felt about it. Like, competition is great. So why do people kind of knock competition and act like it doesn't matter or it shouldn't matter? I feel like that's kind of lame, and that we should always have healthy competition, always kind of support the idea of healthy competition between these two companies. Jeff Nabs says Microsoft has taken a Little Caesars approach to gaming next gen. They couldn't compete with Sony quality wise, so it drops the price with Game Pass and goes for quantity. See, this is the thing, because that just goes to show you that their idea is Netflix of gaming, and that's what they care about. Now, I hope that Gears 5 will buck that quality, right? Because if you look at the last few games we've gotten in Game Pass and it's stuff like, and I like Sea of Thieves, but it's not a highly rated game. So you look at State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, these games aren't scoring well for Microsoft and the Metacritic. If Gears 5 somehow drops below an 80, that would be devastating, because it would kind of go along with the point that they're just shoveling crap out into Metacritic or out to Game Pass to get it out there, right? Talus says, crap, it's because most Xbox fans are still content with hearing just wait till next E3. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I did that for 4 years or so. Just wait till next E3. Wait till next E3. And then you get to the point where you get tired of saying that. I'm a guy that's tired of saying that. It's not fair to the fans to say wait till next E3, because we never know what's going to happen in our lives, man. Some of us might not even be around next E3. Maverick says, yo, crap, notice how Sony learned valuable lessons from the PS3 era, lessons they don't want to repeat. Microsoft, on the other hand, walks out of one fire right into another. I don't get it. I don't get it either. How can one company make so many mistakes and continually kind of crap on their fan base, and their fan base really takes it? Like, I've seen some crazy stuff, and this is not every fan, because there's some legit great Xbox fans who realize that Xbox is imperfect. On the other hand, I see fans out there saying Crackdown 3 is better than God of War. And that's just insanity, folks. That's insane. There is no way that Crackdown 3 is better than God of War. There's no way that almost any Xbox game is better than most PlayStation games. It's just like they haven't matched up well this generation. Primitive Meat says Xbox has become too complacent as too many drink the Kool-Aid, thus praising them for subpar content. It's not always rainbows. More need to step up and hold them accountable so they can learn. Well, for me personally, I agree. I think that what Microsoft has to do is, or what Xbox fans have to do, is be more vocal. Like, other people like myself wouldn't have to be so negative, quote unquote, if everybody else were just a little bit more vocal. Vote with your wallet a little bit. Everybody going, wow, Crackdown 3 was just a great. You know what I mean? That doesn't help us. And that's not me imitating anybody. I'm just saying in general, saying Crackdown 3 was great isn't helping anything, because that game wasn't great. It was fun at times, but definitely not a great game. Not even a good game. Joe Hansel says, what if Phil just can't wait for this generation to be over to start with a less tainted Xbox adding up full force? I guess it's just wishful hoping. It's not wishful hoping. I'm actually there with you, man. That's what I want too, man. I want Microsoft to be out there kind of pumping out great games, being very, very excited and happy fans being happy, them putting out amazing exclusives, both AA and AAA, having some content. I never will agree with Microsoft's idea to not do exclusive or timed content, because I feel like that makes gamers feel special that own that platform. So when Microsoft knew they weren't going to have any content for years, I felt like the best thing that they could have done was get us some timed content, get us something to something to play, right? Something to play, something new to, something third party, something. I mean, they're Microsoft, right? They have money. They can spend money and get us some damn content to make us feel kind of at least wanted in the ecosystem, because I always felt like they didn't really want us in the ecosystem, and that sucks, just kind of looking at how things are. I'm not, I wish that they would kind of let us have something a little special, and then you have the other fans that basically try to shame you for feeling this way, right? You're a flip-flopper. You shouldn't feel this way. Why do you feel this way? Microsoft is great. They don't do anything wrong, That's you. You're just a person that's you expect too much, or you gotta wait. It takes time. Blah blah blah. Like, to me, there's that too, where you have the people that try to shame you for feeling a certain way about the lackluster exclusives. So I always kind of think Microsoft needs a little bit of help. Hacky Sack says, hope there's a new mainstream dash for next gen. We've heard that they're working on something new for next gen, so I hope they don't have to take away all of our features for next generation. But I do think that we need a much better, next generation. This is a good point. Carlos Gutierrez says, crap, I'm very happy that you saw the light. Xbox games for the last 3 years are trash. I'm disappointed with my One X. I completely understand. Obai D4283 says, crap, we all knew Microsoft is going to go third party while still maintaining the console. I actually do agree with you. I think they are going to do that. So we'll have to see to do that. They did get time content crap. Unfortunately, it's content Xbox guys don't care about in PSO2. I don't know what game that is. TD Bank says, Microsoft are just being the good guys. They don't want to bully Sony and pull them out of the business with their war chest of funds. Supposedly, but which is it? Does Microsoft have unlimited funds, or is Microsoft handicapped by lack of funds? Like, that's the question that I kind of have. Rich says, I had a discussion with an Xbox fanboy saying Detroit Become Human and Spider-Man aren't AAA. What do you think? I think they're both AAA, definitely. Spider-Man for sure. Here's the thing. Detroit Become Human is AAA because even though it might be the same almost style of a Telltale game, Telltale games are AA. And you can tell a definite quality difference. The quality in Detroit, that voice acting, the movements, the graphics, AAA all the way. They advertised it. It's AAA. It's AAA. Next doc. I love this comment. Hold on. Where is it? It says, leaving no gamer behind is actually BS. They left me behind as a hardcore console gamer with no proper single-player AAA exclusives. They don't fight for us and allow PlayStation to wall off content from us. I said this a long time ago, right? By not locking down exclusive content, Microsoft actually keeps content away from us because they know Sony will lock it down. So instead of coming out there and knocking it down with some great content for us, they don't give us they don't get any kind of time content or anything. And Sony's going to continue to do that. Look at Control, right? I feel like Control is going to be what Quantum Break should have been. I feel like it's a really good game, and Sony has exclusive time content. I guess like some missions and stuff too. So I might actually get that game on PlayStation 4 Pro. I'll have to see. I have to see how it goes. See how that kind of works in terms of what it has to offer. I want it to be something cool. And I always feel like time content, like if it's good, can be really, really good. Like I felt like Destiny did time content really well for Sony. I'm not a fan of that per se, but it's business. If you don't understand that that's how business is, then I don't know what else to say. It's just one of those things that's definitely business related, and it definitely is something that these companies should take a little bit more seriously, especially Microsoft. Like, they don't give us crap. Indies. Here's some more indies. And here's some games that are going to go to PC while they get exclusive still. Like, I don't get it. I don't get that at all. Let me see. Hey, please hit the like button. We're closing in on 100 likes. I would really appreciate it. I don't have Vitaly says, can we get a room tour? My room is mostly boxed up because I'm moving because I'm about to get married. So let's see. Crap, have you seen the 4 mocap cutscenes in Gears 5 and that mini map in multiplayer modes? I've heard about the 4 mocap cutscenes, and apparently we saw one of them last year. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Wrath Lord says, or World says, bring back Bruce Lee. RPG, very good. Original Xbox Dante's Inferno Rise would be good. A good answer to God of War. I agree. They can go out of their way to do something that's not a games as a service. Show me something, Microsoft. There was no quality control at all at Microsoft. They lost Bungie, started churning out mediocre games, plagued with bugs. Really, the only thing holding Xbox down this gen was Forza and smaller games. Think about it. Where would Xbox have been this generation without the Horizon series and without stuff like Cuphead or Ori and the Blind Forest, right? Without those games, I don't think they have anything worthwhile. And then even then, are those even worthwhile as much as previous generations? I don't know. So that's one of those things that I kind of question as a fan. My 3 most wanted things with the PS5. I think what I want with the PS5 is VR, which they're going to continue on. AAA exclusives, which they're going to do. And I would like to see them get back into first-party multiplayer games a little bit, whether that be Killzone or a new IP or bring SOCOM back. Or Resistance. I would like to see that happen, right? So I love that they're going to continue doing big AAA single-player stuff, but I would like to see them add some multiplayer stuff as well, because if you want to get me full-time on your console, you're going to have to give me some kind of multiplayer unique experience, and I feel like Sony's lacking that, and hopefully they can continue to do that by adding to that next generation. So games as a service is starting to annoy me because basically, if you guys don't know, here's the problem that I have with games as a service. I don't mind getting updated content. It's not the same thing as just DLC. Look, Spider-Man had DLC, but imagine if Spider-Man's persistent world was just getting those random like side quests over and over again, right? That would have been games as a service. Okay, so Microsoft with State of Decay 2, that had no story whatsoever. You're just in this zombie town or whatever. And hey, thanks, Gutierrez Aviles. You're just in this zombie world, and these random events keep popping up. It was so lame. That's the reason why you couldn't do proper co-op, because you can't advance your story because there's no damn story. So, that's really kind of a bad situation. Look at Sea of Thieves. No campaign. And I want to say this too. I heard from very good people that you guys probably watch as well, that Microsoft indeed considered Halo and Gears with no campaigns. And this was at a time when Black Ops 4 came out with no campaign and was doing extremely well. So if Gears 5 campaign does suck, there could have been a point where they weren't maybe even going to do a campaign. I don't know. Maybe it was a late edition. Maybe that's why there's so few cutscenes. Maybe there's only 4 chapters, and so there's only 4 cutscenes for each chapter. And I think that would suck, to be honest with you, but I hope that that's not it. Let's see. Master Chief Collection should have been amazing. Halo 5 should have been insane. The greatest hunt marketing. Gears should have had rivaled God of War. Sea of Thieves was empty. Exactly. I think that what happens is Microsoft just gets they think that every gamer just wants to spend 1,000 hours in every game. You have to realize that not every gamer wants to do that. Not every gamer needs to do that. Not every gamer has that need to play Destiny. There is some of those gamers that love that Destiny style gameplay. They love that Destiny style loot system and all that, the Division and all that stuff. Here's what I like about the Division. I played the campaign, beat the campaign. I'm not going back and doing dailies. That stuff doesn't interest me. I don't care about doing that stuff. That's why Destiny is so boring to me, because the way that they work things is do the same thing over and over again, do a strike, do this or whatever. It's just very, very boring. That's games as a service. And I don't know. Sometimes I think that works, but for the most part, man, I just want to play games like how we're used to playing it. I guess old school. I guess I'm a dinosaur. I don't know, Just one of those things where it kind of pisses me off that it doesn't look like we get games the way we're used to it. I hope they don't screw up Gears 5. I hope they don't screw up Fable. But do I have faith that they're not going to do that? No. Because Microsoft has the most to prove to us, in my opinion. They have not shown that they can do quality content this generation. I mean, that's not to say they haven't had anything decent, but if somebody were to go to me and go, hey, I'm buying an Xbox One X, Crab, what game should I get? What are must-have games for Xbox? Most of the games that I would point out to people would probably be multi-platform games because they show off the X much better than the Xbox exclusives. And I just feel like Microsoft has kind of let us all down. What am I going to say? Get Crackdown 3? You know, I just don't feel like people would care. You know, Crackdown 3 is not a great game. So, like, what do you say to people? Now, if somebody goes to me and he goes, hey, crap, I'm going to get a PS4. What game should I get? Oh, I'll get Until Dawn, get Uncharted 4, get the Nathan Drake collection, get God of War, get Spider-Man, get Detroit Become Human, you know, get Days Gone. I can give you a great list of games that you're not playing anywhere else, and you're going to enjoy yourself. I can guarantee it. If you come to me and go, what game should I get for the Xbox One X? I'm probably telling you to get some Assassin's Creed games. Is Halo even worth playing? I don't know how active that community is online or how active that is online anymore. So I don't even really know. Quantum Break was okay, but it's really like about a 4.5 hour, 5 hour game. You know, it's unbelievable to look at how bad the content is and how a lot of people still kind of damage control what's going on there. So, hey, we passed 100 likes. Thank you guys very much. Fran L says Cuphead. Yeah, Cuphead. It's on the Switch now as well. So that's, you know, something. You know, you can look forward to that on the Switch or, you know, whatever it is. I like the game, but boy, was that a difficult ass game, man. I got stuck on that second world and never went back. It's very, very difficult, but I do think it's good. Yobi says, that's your opinion. You know, I think Crackdown 3 is dope, but I can say Crackdown 2 was terrible. Yeah, listen, I'm not saying that Crackdown 3 is the worst game ever made, Yobi, but 5 years in development and all the promises, and you can't even find a match online in that game right now, right? I tried to find matches online to play. I still haven't played but one time on the whole multiplayer, right? We were promised the cloud and all this stuff, and I can't find a match on there. It's like it finds 2 people, and then the lobby just closes. So it's very, very, it's very, very bad for a game that came out not that long ago to be that dead already. Yes, Control looks great. I think it's going to be good. R. Rob says Halo 5 is active. I'll have to check that out. Primitive Meat says, crap, honestly, what held Xbox together for me at least is the hope that they will do better next gen. As a diehard fan, I hold on, but come on, we need more things. You're losing me. Perhaps you already have. Exactly. That's kind of the way I feel. Rich says, I really started to hate Game Pass. It really kind of making Microsoft games cheaper. It does seem like we're losing the quality of our games. Chris Lott says, I'm 37. I've been gaming for most of it. I don't care for multiplayer, running around, swearing at children. Give me a single player with a good, interesting story, and I'll give you my money. Hey, we're the same age, Chris. I feel the same way now. I do like multiplayer, but I'm more apt to spend a little bit of time, an hour or two in a single player game at a time when I have time. And I feel like Microsoft has done a piss poor job of getting those games out for us. What do I think about Fortnite? I'm not a Fortnite fan. Hotman966 says, yeah, you need the strongest console to play Cuphead. That is my point, right? Why sell us a 8K, 120 frames per second console if you're not mandating that developers take advantage of that, even in a 4K capacity? So what do we need that for with those indie things in Minecraft, right? You don't need it. So, yeah, it does kind of suck that we can't really get what we deserve. Let's see. Who else? Crackdown's multiplayer should have never been made. Invest more in the single player. Well, they supposedly did invest in the single player, right? Like the single player was something that they did invest with. They doubled down on it, I guess, because it didn't play like Crackdown originally. And I like the addition of like Terry Crews and stuff. But why in the world, if they ever do make another Crackdown, which I sincerely don't think they will make, right? But if they ever do make one, I hope that they make it and have it revolve around Terry Crews, right? Because that guy is funny as hell. If there's any enjoyable part about that game, it is Terry Crews. So, you know, kind of keep that in for what it's worth. You know, I think that he does a really good job in that game, but he takes like a back seat for most of the game. He's at the beginning, and then like, you know, you hear him kind of ambient talking here and there, but for the most part, nothing special, nothing to write home about. You know, it's not even as, you know, having total destruction in that city could have been fun for the campaign, but you can't even do that. It's just like the most repetitive game I've played in a long time. And games are repetitive. I get it, right? Like most games are made to be repetitive, but that game is just super repetitive. Get all the subway stations, get all this, free all the prisoners in each section. You know, draw out this guy, draw out that girl, draw out this guy. It just was not fun for me, and very, very much just not a great game for me personally. So, you know, I do think that if you had fun with it, I think that's great. But for me, I didn't, unfortunately. Jeff Knapp says True 8K is laughable. Hardware arguably doesn't even exist, and if it did, it would cost thousands. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. Maverick says, man, The Last Guardian took forever to come out. Like Crackdown 3 release looked like a late PS3 game and was still more engaging and well received than Crackdown 3. Yeah, I don't. The only reason Crackdown 3 saw the light of day was because it's a Phil Spencer game. So if you guys didn't know that, like Phil Spencer, that's like his favorite franchise or one of them. So obviously that game was going to get made still. Jeff Coleman says, I'm 56 and love Gears 4 Horde, and I have to say Crackdown 3 is awesome. Multi, I only play in it's Horde mode. Well, a lot of people like Crackdown. I'm not a Crackdown fan, I guess. I like the first one, but this one, it got boring really fast. Next Doc says, crap, games as a service is trash. I don't want to play your game for the rest of my damn life. I'm a proper gamer. I beat several games. If your game is good, I'll come back later and beat it again. I agree. This is exactly how I play it. Old Bye says, oh man. Yeah, me and Salty patched things up. Yeah, like I have no beef with anybody that I know of right now. As far as I know, everything's kind of a clean slate with all the people that we had issues with each other. You know, me, Dealer, Colt, Salty, Rand, Next Gen 720. As far as I know, everything is. That's not to say that other people won't take shots at me or whatever, or but I'm not. I'm done for my part. Like although I will stick up for myself, but for the most part, as far as I've heard and I've talked to these people, and there is no problems between us anymore. So I would much rather just do content about video games than not. So yeah, all that stuff done. Dude Botch says Microsoft lost its mojo and don't think they care about getting it back. They're going to lose more gamers to Sony next gen. Next gen is going to be bad. I think most people are going to go Sony. Do I think Modern Warfare is going to be good? I'm going to get it. I can't wait to get it. Maverick says, crap, Crackdown 1 was far better than 3. There are so many comparison videos demonstrating how they cut corners from what have been a natural upgrade, what should have been a natural upgrade from an already good game. Yeah, I don't really know exactly what went wrong there. And if you guys, more people are joining, maybe we can get up over 400. Please like the video. Let's maybe get to 150 likes. I would appreciate that. I'm not really sure what the deal is with Crackdown and why they weren't able to achieve something more than what they did. I felt like that was a game that can be fun and has limitless possibilities because it's just goofy. Like to me, Crackdown should almost be like Saints Row 4, just with that, you got these superpowers and you got this big city. You should be able to go around and do things like that. And to me, it just never lived up to the hype about what we should have gotten or what I expected or what most of us expected anyway. So I really do think that if they ever do decide to do a Crackdown 4, first of all, I don't know, maybe find a different developer. Build a studio they can make the games and spend time with the games. That was always Microsoft's big problems to begin with anyway, was they had these studios that were making Crackdown games that they didn't own. So if the studio went belly up or was busy with another thing, what could you do? Like that was always a problem. And so hopefully Microsoft kind of sees the light, and if they ever do make a sequel, they can make it much better. Because I know some people didn't really like it. I didn't like it. Jay Slayer says Crackdown 3 wasn't technically in development for 5 years. Everything they had done, they had the trash, so it's more like a 3-year development game, but I'm not saying it's good. Well, they announced it in 2014, right? And we got it in 2019. It was going to launch with the Xbox One X. And so, I mean, like, even if it's 4 years, that's still a long time for that crappy game. Hotman says 5 years for Crackdown 3. What does it say when the game is better than the new one? Exactly my point. It's like, hey, what's up, Fret Boy? Says, what's the news? What I missed? Sup, crap. So if you are just joining me, and there's more people here, obviously now, Rod Ferguson kind of confirmed that there's only 4 motion cap cutscenes in Gears of War 5. which I found to be a little bit upsetting because how can you only have 4? Maybe there's only 1 per thing, and I have to go back and look, but I think there was way more than that in Gears 4 just by going off the top of my head. I remember there being quite a few cutscenes in Gears 4 and then in the previous Gears. So unless they use CGI or something to sort of fix up what was going on, I have to question, what's going on there? What are they thinking? You know, I wish that they would kind of listen to the fans a little bit. Maybe they weren't going to do a campaign. I don't know, but I hope that it's a good campaign. We haven't seen any Gears footage from the campaign yet. That's a little bit unsettling. So that's what we're kind of talking about. Also, Phil Spencer is not mandating anything with the Xbox One Scarlett or Xbox Scarlett or Project Scarlett or whatever it's going to be called, meaning they're not saying make a game that's 4K, make a game that's 8K, make a game that's 60 frames, make a game that's 120 frames. They're not mandating any of that stuff. It's completely up to developers. Must be nice to work for Microsoft, right? You barely even have to do anything and you have a job. So, yeah, it is a little bit disappointing. So, Hacky Sack says, I'm not that interested by the majority of Sony's exclusive. I just want to see Xbox doing great again after the low this gen. I would love to see them do great again. Crap, what is your thoughts on PlayStation getting timed exclusivity content and beta for Marvel's Avengers? Hey, they pay for it. They know how to play the game. That's what I'm all about, man. Do what you can to get people on board. Hacky Sack says, whatever Gears 4 did was fine. Yeah, in terms of the cutscenes, I just hope that they do they actually go out and do better things in terms of no DB bots. Don't do that weird tower defense stuff either. Ryan Landis says, I keep hearing that Microsoft had to cut games for budgets after the launch, but last gen they dealt with Red Ring and still put out big games. Not only did they put out big games, but they bought big games, man. Gears of War was a third-party exclusive. They bought that game, Blue Dragon, they bought it. They bought a ton of games, and that's how they really competed. And they were the kind of, did great. Everybody loved them, even stuff like Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. They got so many great games, and they did. You're right, they did have the Red Ring. So it really is kind of baffling to see Microsoft not be able to compete and not be able to do sort of what we've come to expect from them as a company. So, PCAP, Mogwee says PCAP is where voice acting is done on stage simultaneously with the mocap. Mocap is where the animation is done, then voice acting is done in a booth and combined. Exactly. Do you think Microsoft needs to do marketing like Sony to be able to compete? Yeah, but where is the marketing from Microsoft? They seem like they're in marketing zero. I've seen 0 Gears trailers, 0 Gears, anything, commercials, ads. I don't see anything, Who Done Penguin says, I think it's for mocap scenes and the rest is CGI. That's what I inferred when Rod Ferguson said 4 to 5 key scenes. Well, that's not really how they did the last ones, though. If that's how they did it, then that could be cool. But do you think that it's coincidence that there's only 4 to 5 key scenes that are mocapped and then they're not showing anything from the actual gameplay of the campaign as well? Like, do you find that fishy? Like, I find it a little bit fishy. Wild Dogs says E3 2018 will be Microsoft's biggest Xbox show ever. E3 2019 will show things no one has ever seen before. What's next year for E3 2020? Phil Spencer's going to say, our biggest E3 ever. More exclusives, more first-party output. And it's going to be like, In Exile's Wasteland 3 again, even though it's going to go to PS4. Oh, Rob said PCAP, not mocap. Yeah, there's 2 different things. Reunion K says, crap, what do you think about the Yakuza games? I love the characters in those games. I wanted to play Judgment, but I can't afford shit right now, just being honest. But I don't hate them. I really like Sleeping Dogs. And I was hoping that those games would have been a little bit more like Sleeping Dogs because I found those games to be incredibly fun. So maybe I've heard Judgment is a little bit more like Sleeping Dogs. Rich says, I think Xbox and PlayStation will be duking it out at E3 2020. Yeah, they're going to be duking it out, but I think PlayStation is going to be bringing a lot more games. Microsoft was holding back, I think, Fable for next year, right? And, obviously they're going to hold back Halo and Forza for reveals next year as well. So I think that they think that's going to be enough to get them a win, but I feel like they're going to need new AAA IP as well. So, let's see. People were confusing biggest and longest ever for E3. I'm sure. Hold on. I am something says I'm sure Sony is not done making Uncharted games, just not with Nate. Well, Naughty Dog's not making Uncharted. Sony opened a studio in San Diego with ex-Naughty Dog employees, supervised by the real Naughty Dog, and supposedly they're continuing on the story. It could be his daughter. It could be with Nathan Drake. Who knows? But yeah, they're definitely not going to get rid of that franchise. Gamer O'Malley says 3 months from launch and Gears 5 has no marketing and no campaign. In 3 months, if it tanks critically and commercially, if you say, I told you so, all those guys are coming for you. Gamer, it's actually 2 months because it launches September 6th. September 6th. So less than 2 months is early access, September 6th. So, wow. We're July, August, September, 2 months. Not too far. Let's see. Do you think Sony has super hot games that they don't even know about for E3 2020? I saw an article today confirming 10 exclusives that 10 PS5 exclusives that Sony's working on right now. So yeah, it looks like we could be seeing some pretty kick-ass exclusives from Sony next gen. I think it really going to come down to what we can have from Microsoft. Microsoft needs to show some amazing stuff. They need to kind of get things going, get people excited about Xbox. You got to get people excited. If you don't get people excited about your console and the games, then how can it do well? Like, that's always been my thing. You got to get people like wanting to play your stuff, and Microsoft has done not a great job of getting people excited about the content. So the content's the most important thing. And if you're not getting people excited about it, hey, what can you do? That's just how I feel. You got to get, and Microsoft has done a really piss poor job at that. So hopefully next gen, or whatever the hell they're calling the next Xbox, hopefully they go out of their way and get people the content they want. So let's see. What else let's see. Hey, crap. Remember my comment saying GTX 1080 destroys Xbox One X? Yeah, I do. Captain Thug Nasty says, crap, you need to be careful. Those that stick their necks out and speak the truth are the first to be hanged or silenced. Gears is in trouble. Look, Gears could be great, right? Like, I want to be honest. Maybe I'm hoping that Gears is great. I'm not wanting it to do bad or be bad. I want it to be great. I'm just concerned because it comes out in less than 2 months, and we've seen nothing from the campaign, and it only has 4 key motion cap scenes. That's a bit of a problem. So, really good thing here. Billy Akira says Microsoft needed to get mindshare back at this E3, not wait till next. So that's a really key thing to say, because if you think about it, mindshare is super important. It's super important, right? You, like, everybody, when they think about video games last gen, it was Xbox, right? Of course, the Wii was a thing, and everybody and their grandma had a Wii, but Xbox was like the pop culture thing, right? Microsoft advertised in movies, TV shows. Hell, I can remember the Xbox 360 and Kinect being in a show called Smallville. Maybe you guys remember that. They had Windows phones in that show, Surface tablets. They used to advertise in movies. I can remember many a movie with like Xbox logos all over the place, including Real Steel. You remember that? Hugh Jackman made robots, and there was Xbox 720 banners in that movie. They actually advertise things, right? They advertise so well. And now they don't advertise anything. And they go, when you bring up advertising, they say 2 things. People don't watch TV anymore, which is complete BS, because millions of people watch stuff like Game of Thrones and Walking Dead and, all these type of shows. And 2, they're like, well, we advertise on a dashboard. Well, if you're advertising on a dashboard, you're only advertising to the people that already have your console and your piece of hardware. What good does that do? It doesn't make any sense to me. Sony, you know how many God of War commercials I saw? Spider-Man commercials I saw? Like Days Gone commercials I saw? For people that don't watch, if people don't watch TV, why did I see dozens and dozens of commercials for these things? And those games sell extremely well. So That's the huge difference. Almost 400 people watching. Please like it. I really appreciate it. Like the video, share it out. I do appreciate that. Let's see. Maverick says Microsoft has been saying wait for E3 for the last 3 years. Actually, for the last 4 years. It's been crazy. Pumpkin Queen says Transformers. Yes, Transformers, Xville. Yes, Smallville. I have all 10 seasons on DVD. So that was one of my favorite shows. But yeah, they had Connect on there as well. I remember them playing Boomball Connect on there. And I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. Primitive Meat says crap, Xbox is letting us forget about Xbox. Maybe not even so much forgetting about Xbox, but it's like they're treating Xbox as something that's not just a console. And I get what they're doing by trying to expand, but you can't ignore the console at the same time, right? I feel like that's a mistake, and that they really need to go out of their way to make people feel good about their brand and their console and all this kind of stuff. So I hope that they continue to put the games first and put the fans first. Xbox fans have been through so much this generation. Like, I get it, man. I'm an Xbox fan. I literally feel like I was beaten and kicked and left to the curb, and Microsoft should be aware, and a little bit more self-aware, and go, hey, you know what? We should do a better job. We're sorry that we didn't do great games this generation, but they won't even really admit that, so that's a bit unsettling. Hey, crap. Rich says, hey, crap, you are getting hated on by Xbox fans if you didn't know. I know, but look, the same way that I unblocked like the PlayStation fans that were hating on me, it's just the internet. People don't like me because I speak my mind, and I understand that. That's just the way it is. Maverick says, crap, I think Microsoft should have continued with movie and TV efforts. Actually, despite criticism, it would have reaped rewards in the day and age of TV streaming services. They were ahead of the bar, and they listen. What's funny is they didn't have to totally quit everything they were doing. They just needed to focus on the games first. Because if you remember, the PlayStation 4 reveal focused on video games. Imagine that. But they also showed off what that Need for Speed movie at their E3, PlayStation View at E3, that show Powers, their own produced show Powers at E3. So you can have both things, but you've got to have the focus on the games first and foremost. You can't be like, here's The Price is Right. Here's a football game. Here's a soccer game. Watch it on your Xbox One. Like, you can't do that. I feel like that was kind of stupid. Dual Purpose says, you better hope that about $500 million for a Halo. I don't know if they've actually, you have to take into consideration an extended period of time for, for the development for that game. And not only is it an extended period of time, but you also have kind of an extended budget for that as well for marketing. They might include marketing or what they're planning to market with that as well. So you have to keep that in mind, just kind of going forward. Hey, crap, you blocked me on Twitter a long time ago. Can you unblock me? What's your name on Twitter, Rich? And I'll unblock you. Primitive Meat says, crap, but how do they do that? Build hype when Phil isn't even concerned about console sales. That's a big problem. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Crap, why can't we play music on Xbox One anymore? The Groove Music doesn't play MP3 files anymore. Why? Dude, Oliver, they canceled Groove Music. There's no such thing as Groove Music anymore. They canceled it. They 86'd it, man. They were done. Penguin says, I don't Microsoft will ever advertise like the 360 era ever again because of Game Pass and xCloud. They want everybody to move to those services. They're transferring us, guys. Like, listen, you guys might not like this, your girls as well. I'm not trying to generalize because, 2% of my audience is female. But Microsoft is transitioning us. The SAT edition, all this digital stuff, Game Pass, they want us to go to digital, then into streaming, right? So I don't feel like you can just, as long as we have a disk drive, then they can't just drop their console and go to streaming. You have to, I think the natural progression from Microsoft is wean us off of physical, get us all going digital, and then wean us off digital and all go streaming. So we own even less of our content, and people will just be like, okay, because we play Netflix, right? And we don't own that. But I think the big difference is, imagine if Netflix, if we were paying, $10 a month for Netflix, but we also had to pay for the movies that we watched on there as well, right? So imagine we had to pay $30 per movie as well as a $10 subscription to Netflix. I think that's the big difference. I don't want to get caught in a world or I have to pay $60 or $70 for a game that I can't take with me or share or play offline, or when I don't have an internet connection. Like, I don't want to do that. So that's something that I'm very fearful of as a gamer, as an Xbox fan, but mostly as a gamer first. Video game. Let's see. Hold on. Crap. Do you know how hard it is defending Xbox brand? Meanwhile, having friends laugh at me playing their PS4s together. I hate this, but I see no hope. Yeah, I don't know. I would say if you still love Xbox, man, then get Xbox. But I don't see why. Like, I'm not. I might not get Xbox Scarlett at launch. So. Okay, so just gamer 95. I just unblocked you. There, we're all good, man. You are unblocked officially. So yeah, I appreciate it. Hold on. Please hit the like button, guys. Let's get over 100. Remember when you were enraged by the media bias towards PlayStation? Yeah, listen. If you go back to the beginning of the generation, there was a lot of media attention for Sony, right? Like, a lot of media attention. People freaking love Sony. They were like, hey, man, Sony's the best. 720p, X-Bone. This was legit stuff to be kind of concerned about. And so I was concerned about it. Now, what we've seen after that is, it hasn't been as bad, in my opinion. Microsoft has changed a lot. And so we sort of see that, some people kind of come around to that as well. So for me personally, I don't really kind of worry about it too much. I think that, Microsoft has kind of, what they've done is sort of, sort of put their own foot in their own mouth at different times. So for me personally, I can understand what's going on, but I also think that it's kind of what they've done is a little bit foolish for the most part. And they deserve a lot of the hate that they got at the beginning of the generation. But I don't think that they've been, I like some of the stuff that they do, but I think that a lot of the stuff they do lately is just stuff to kind of save face and make them not look as bad as what they did early on. So I don't buy, like, if you look at it, like, they're pushing, what do they push, right? They push this crossplay stuff, right? And why can't that Final Fantasy multiplayer game come to Xbox One, right? It's on, like, different platforms. It's on PlayStation. People want it, but I guess Phil is very much saying nope, because you can't allow, like, cross chat or something like that. Like, so they're still behind these walls while out there preaching, let's all play together and do this together, right? Like, so it's still this type of situation, in my opinion, and that's a bit of a shame. So they preach one thing and do another. So I always feel like that's kind of a, something that kind of pissed me off, that, like, hypocritical side of Microsoft. I feel like they can do much better if they want to. I'm going to answer some more questions. Yep, you're unblocked, Rich. No problem. What's good with Gears? Hey, I'm hoping Gears is good. Let's see. Holo Moko says, crap, I heard from a dev that Microsoft first party studio said Game Pass isn't bringing in enough money. Do you know something about it? So some developer or ex-developer of some studio said that Game Pass wasn't paying them enough money, that they didn't really make much from it. So the way I understand Game Pass works is kind of Game Pass works like they get, I guess, a certain amount of money per download. I don't know how much it is, but apparently, depending on what your game is, it might not be much, so I guess it just kind of depends, depends on what's going on. I'm not sure. Let me see here. Game Pass makes no sense for new games. Why pay $60 for anything from Microsoft? Drizzy, this is why I have Game Pass. I get tired of paying 40 to 60 bucks for just these terrible, terrible games that Microsoft puts out. And, and I'm kind of sick of it. So that's why I got Game Pass, right? And it is a good value. I'm not knocking Game Pass because I feel like Game Pass is a very good value. I just feel like, for me personally, Microsoft doesn't put out enough good games to make it worthwhile for me, So, yeah, just my personal opinion. I think Halo and Gears and Forza are the exceptions, but even the other studios that they have doesn't seem like they're that much of a, they're much of an upgrade, right? Like Gears 5. What happens if Gears 5 isn't good? Then we're kind of stuck with another average game, or an average Gears game. I never thought we'd get that. An average Gears game. Think about it. If that ends up being true, and we don't know that it is, but if that ends up being true, that it's just an average Gears game, that's not a good look. That's not a good look for Microsoft. That's not a good look for anybody. You know, I hope that that it's a great Gears game. You know, that's the hope, and I hope that they can rebound from that, because I feel like, you know, that's what we need to see from Microsoft. We need to see Microsoft fighting. We need to see Microsoft fighting back. We need to see Microsoft sort of going out of their way to, you know, to make things great on Xbox again, because they've kind of, I know that's kind of a joke, but they've really failed us this generation. And I feel like there's a long way to go. So, Shadowgate says the last Gears was less than average. Yeah, I think the Gears multiplayer was good for the last Gears, but I do agree with you that, in fact, the campaign was probably less than average, and Microsoft can do much, much better than that. So hopefully they actually do that, because I think that Gears is a solid franchise, and it definitely deserves like the respect of Microsoft and the fans. You know, just think of us, man. We've been with Gears for how long? You got to change it up. And if they did change it up like they're claiming, then they really need to show off a little bit of those changes, you know? Just my opinion anyway, hopefully. Abel's 2009 says Gears 4 was a great game. I thought Gears 4 was a pretty good game. I did not like the DB bots. I did not like the tower defense parts where you got to, you know, here comes another wave of people like in the middle of a game. That does not make any sense to me. And I hope that Microsoft sort of fixes that in the future. So, you know, I hope that those parts are out of the game. I didn't like the Gears packs either. You know, buy Gears packs, you know, $5, $50, $150. Like microtransactions in a full-on game like that does not make sense to me. And I hope that they kind of learn their lesson from that kind of going forward. You know, we'll have to see what's they did say that there were no Gears packs in Gears 5, so that is a good thing. I'm interested to see how it plays out though, and if it's actually something that you know, that looks as good as what I believe it'll be. Again, the campaign is the part that I'm worried about. Also, why did they wait so long to give us the beta for to give us a beta for this, right? Like why did we wait so long? It does not make a lot of sense why we had to wait so long to get into the beta. Last beta for Gears 4, we had almost a year between that and the game release. That way, if there was a problem, they could update it and fix it. You know, if there's overpowered weapons or whatever, you could fix those problems. Now, it's sort of the opposite. You don't have enough time to do that. So I do feel like that's a bit of a problem. So, see Kevin Life, he says, just played through the game and the waves during the story sucked. Exactly. Like it's filler, right? Like the campaign wasn't very long. You had these stupid DB bots, you had boring characters, and then you had these stupid waves of like tower defense moments. It didn't make sense. So let's see. I'm going to answer some more questions as soon as we get some in here. Let's see. Well, here's the thing, Golden Prodigy says, I hope they replace Phil Spencer with someone better. Who? You know, like who they do that's better? If a lot of this stuff is coming from the top with Satya Nadella, like I think that's one of the problems. You know, you have like, is it a philosophy at Microsoft? Like I guess Satya Nadella is really pushing this Windows narrative as well. So I think that's where some of that comes from. And it could be why we're sort of seeing such a change for both, you know, Microsoft and Sony or whatever, or Microsoft and their ideas of putting games on both PlayStation and or not PlayStation, but on Xbox and PC, as well as xCloud and stuff like that. So I hope that they continue to like evolve that and maybe put a little bit more focus on the console itself, because you do have like a lot of hardcore fans that love Xbox and that want to love Xbox again, right? Like a lot of people I see want to go back to Xbox, want to be Xbox fans, but how, right? Like Microsoft doesn't seem to give a crap about us. So yeah, you know, I do think that it's going to be difficult, but I hope that we can get there eventually, and that Microsoft can kind of give people that hope and that Xbox can be great again, because it used to be so amazing. I had such faith in this product at the beginning of this generation for the first couple of years. And then, they gave up when they started doing Play Anywhere. I was like, okay, well, they gave up this generation, but maybe next gen they'll fight back. But now they're doing all this other stuff, and they keep saying play any game you want on any device you want, anywhere you want. That to me signals that they're already given up everything. They want to be a third party company, but maybe a third party company with a console. And some people will say this, right? And I understand this point of view. Um, if you can play your games on an Xbox, because they're still having a box for now, then what's it matter if other people, say on PS4 or PS5, can play those games too? Well, it matters because if they can play those games on other consoles, they're less apt to buy an Xbox console. Like if I could play Gears and Halo and Forza on a PlayStation 5, there's no freaking need to buy an Xbox next. There's just none. I'll just buy one console. Most people just buy one console, and the console that they'll buy will be PlayStation, right? No matter how you try to spin it, why wouldn't you buy a PlayStation? You're going to get all the benefits of PlayStation exclusives, which aren't anywhere else, multiplats, and Xbox quote unquote exclusives or first party, because there are no exclusives. But why would you buy multiple consoles? Save yourself $500-600, and you could just play everything on PlayStation, and everything would just kind of work out fine. That's what I think, how I would do it anyway. Holomoko says, I saw gameplay of Bleeding Edge. It looks trashy. You know what? Bleeding Edge looks like a game called Gotham City Imposters, which, that's just one of those games that I think is a nice little AA filler for Game Pass or whatever. Not my cup of tea, but if somebody likes it, hey, good for them. Good for them. And then you guys are probably seeing this report. I haven't really talked much about it, that Xbox Scarlett's going to release with an xCloud focused streaming only SKU. And Brad Sams was talking about this. It was going to be priced $60 to $100. So according to Brad Sams, he says that since Microsoft isn't working on Xbox Lockhart anymore, that they're now focusing on an xCloud focused streaming only box, which will be a low tech, low latency alternative for customers to connect directly to xCloud and play games through it. Think of like a Roku box or something. Though it won't exactly be a set-top box or something along those lines, it's described as having very little power and meant specifically for providing a better experience connected to xCloud rather than, say, a smart TV or a phone. So according to the report, it's going to be cheap, between $60 and $100. And he also mentions that details are murky right now, so take it with a grain of salt. So here's the thing that I would say. This thing supposedly does rendering, right? So it renders your character and you can move, because that's one of the biggest problems with streaming games is the latency between your movement and when you press in the button on a controller. Now, if this box allows the person to render that you can move locally and everything else is cloud-based, that will cut down on that a bit. But to think it would be $60 to $100 is absolutely insane, because Roku boxes can vary in prices, but this thing's going to presumably have to come with a controller, and Xbox controllers are between $60 and $80 for just a regular controller. So you think about that price, then you think about this set-top box, and even if it has some kind of compute power, it's going to be something. So I tend to think of this, and Microsoft is probably going to come out with something for like $179, and just like the SAT edition being $250, everybody swore up and down that thing would be under $200 or $150, and I was like, no way. Microsoft prices their things way too expensive, and it's going to end up being a bad time for most people, because this thing's going to be $179. It's going to be a misstep by Microsoft. Not that I think, buying, something from like an xCloud thing is going to be a big deal anyway, because I feel like it's not going to be a huge deal. But I also feel like it's one of those things that, it's kind of pointless to me. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that go, oh, I can't wait to stream my games. And if you could, isn't it going against the whole idea that you don't need anything else? Like a phone or a tablet or something is one thing, but now, you need this box. They're automatically kind of admitting that xCloud sucks without some kind of thing to help render, right? Like that to me says everything you need to know about xCloud. So anyway, that's kind of my opinion anyway. Let's see. You have to turn into. Oh, I'm not a Sony fanboy, Daryl Obermeyer. I'm not a Sony fanboy. I'm a gamer, and I think Sony's really kind of paying attention much more to us, to the gamers, and what console gamers want more so than Microsoft. So it's not like oh, he's a Sony guy or an Xbox guy. You know, I wish Microsoft would get their head out of their butts, but it doesn't seem like they're doing that. You know. Golden Prodigies. Oh wait, no, he doesn't say. That's something else. Crap, the pride of being an Xbox owner has been tainted. I wish Phil would understand that, and if he does and cares, to get message out to prove it. Yeah, I agree. Paige says, "Hey friends, hey Crapgamer, happy Monday. Who's excited for Xbox Scarlett and xCloud?" I'm kind of, I guess, mediocrely excited about Scarlett. xCloud, not so much. You know, so you know, I can't really help it. You know, that's not I can't help it. I wish that I was more excited about it. So I wish that I was. But yeah, hopefully. Anyway. So okay, I'm gonna answer a few more questions. Crap, I just got here. What did I miss? I was just going over. Phil Spencer was talking about the Xbox Scarlett and how they don't mandate anything. Like they're not telling developers to do 4K or 8K or anything really. So I don't know. We'll have to see kind of how that works out. I'm an Xbox fan. I have high hopes for Xbox, but I'm just not sure. I'm not sure exactly how much of a high hope I'm going to have after Gears 5. I'm hoping Gears 5 does incredibly great. I hope so, but I'm just not exactly sure if that's going to be the case. So hopefully it ends up doing extremely well. I'm not sure. Cautiously optimistic. Good point. Hey, everybody, hit the like button if you're just joining me right now. I definitely appreciate it. The support, all that kind of great stuff. It means the world to me. Like it, share it out, subscribe, hit the bell. That way you get notified of everything as soon as it comes out, because that's also very, very important as well. So, hopefully you guys are all having a damn good time. And I like doing these little one-on-one podcasts in addition to the other podcasts that I do, just because I think that it's nice to kind of touch base with you guys and just have fun, just talking about video games and just different concerns or things that I'm happy about. And that's what it's all about, man. It's all about gaming and kind of touching base with the fans and stuff like that. Talus says, crap. The truth is people on Xbox are angry because they have to blame someone for the lack of luster games. So they get angry at PlayStation gamers, or they get angry at me. Same difference, right? Holomalco says, will Game Pass always be $1? What happens when they raise the price? What will happen when Microsoft don't put the next AAA game on? They're going to put their games on Game Pass. It is, they want people to pay that $15 though for like the ultimate stuff, which I think that's going to be, how they do it. Talus says, or hold on. Let me see. Going to answer a few more questions. Scalebound would have been such a game changer. I don't know. Maybe. Watch Dogs Legion looks good. What's up, Squeamish? Please hit the like button, you guys. T-Bobo says Gears 5 will have a single-player, multiplayer, and co-op all in 4K 60. This is true, but what will the single player have to offer? That's probably the biggest question that I have anyway, in terms of what we're going to be able to see from Microsoft or whatever. So hopefully we see something soon on the campaign, because I know that I'm kind of I'm not the only one that feels that way, So just my opinion anyway. I hope that they kind of go out of their way to put people's fears to rest a bit. That's my general hope anyway. So I know a lot of you guys probably are hoping that as well. But at the end of the day, I feel like, hey, show us a little something in the campaign side. Give us something to get excited for. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for too much, in my opinion. Just something to get excited for the first time in a long, long, long time. So let's see. I'm going to answer 2 more questions, and then I'm out. Death Stranding is November. Last of Us 2 is February. Yeah, that's what I hear too. Sean Lading or maybe Shuya said it's better be best in class, talking about the game Sony first-party studios make. Microsoft, on the other hand, is just like, do whatever you do. Yep, 100%. Crapgamer, what are you playing these days? I beat Crash Team Racing. or Nitro Racing, and I'm still in the middle of Sonic All-Star or Team Sonic Racing, but I'm also downloading Rage 2. So I'm going to be looking into diving into that. Very excited. Xbox Scarlett going to be left in the dust to 10 million. Do I like fish sticks? No, I don't. Sorry. You know, I'm not into I'm not into that at all. So let's see. What else do we have to sort of talk about? Hopefully, as I kind of close out and get out of here. No, I don't like fish sticks. Sorry. I know you had a good joke because I've seen that episode of South Park. Well, I gotta end it. I got stuff I gotta do today, people, and then I'm gonna have a busy day tomorrow as well. So the content is gonna be there, but it's gonna be, hopefully you guys are gonna enjoy what I have planned. I got something fun. Do I like girls? Yeah, of course I like girls. Let's see. Primitive Meat says, I've never been mad at PS4 fan because they have better stuff. Yeah. I'm not mad at PS4. I've come around quite a bit. M&C show is on Sundays at around noon Eastern. We moved it a little bit. What games am I looking forward to on PlayStation? I'm going to get Death Stranding, Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, whatever they got, I'm going to get. Yeah. Do you think Microsoft will have the same aggression for next gen like Sony is doing with PS5 while at the same time making xCloud? No. Do you think Microsoft will be the next Sega? No, because Microsoft has too much money to be Sega. So I think they'll eventually just switch over to being third party, and that's it. So I think they're going to do like third party stuff, and that's how they're going to do it. No, M&C shows, we do it Sundays, man. Sundays work best. It's very hard to podcast Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at night like that, like because I'm engaged and stuff. And so I don't like doing that. But and it's very tiring. So Sundays at around noon is when we do it, usually on mine or Mooch's channel. So it really just kind of depends. Make sure you guys like the video. Hey, what's up, Luca? I see you. Yeah, I'm just about to end the show though, Luca. Thank you for checking it out. Appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to see you here kind of doing your own thing. So yeah, I appreciate everybody. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you, Luca. I just in here ranting, doing my own thing, like always, kind of like a crazy rant. Crap, what would you do if Microsoft announced they were going third party? I'd say good. I'm going to get a PlayStation 5 and play all the games on PlayStation, and I can stop stressing about this crap. That's what I'd say. So with that, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys for coming out to like an impromptu, just weird little thing that I'm doing live. And you guys are great. Have a great day. Rack 'em up. Peace out.